Hi, I'm Cass. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going through and kind of updating y'all about my physical TBR. I did this video a couple years ago, and I think, if I recall correctly, I had around 70 to 75 unread books at that point. So I have exactly 75 books I have not read. 75 books is a reasonable amount, okay? It's semi-reasonable. It's still questionable. Honestly, I was like, it could be worse, but it could be better. I don't know what my TBR looks like nowadays. I've done quite a bit of unhauling as well as actually like reading the books I own, which is such an out of this world concept, I know. So I'm not sure how much my TBR has dropped, if it's dropped any, but I am going to just guesstimate perhaps 50, and hopefully it's no more than that, and hopefully it is less than 50 books. I would say I have around 300 books in my collection, maybe 350. It's kind of hard to say because, like I said, I keep getting rid of books, and there's actually more books that I plan to unhaul. So if you want any books, check out my Pango. I'll have it in the description as always. But I thought we would just go shelf by shelf and grab the books, and I'll briefly talk about them if I have something to say, like a reason why I haven't picked them up, or if they're like a new copy that I just picked up so I haven't had time to, or like plans in the future that I have to pick these up. So I thought I'd do that versus what I did last year, or I guess it was a couple years ago now, which was just sitting down surrounded by piles and like picking off one by one. We're just gonna go shelf by shelf, and I'll give you a little update of what my shelves look like. They haven't changed that much since my bookshelf tour, but there's some few, you know, knickknacks here and there and a few books here and there that I've added. I don't really want to start with the top shelves because the top shelves are kind of ugly, but I suppose we need to start somewhere. So we'll go to the back left corner and kind of work our way either zigzagging or up and down. I haven't really decided, so you'll see. And let's go ahead and start. I'm scared. I'm a little scared. But let's go ahead and start looking through my physical TBR. Y'all are just gonna have to bear with me with this shelf because I'm balancing on a chair that I shouldn't be balancing on, but this is kind of like my rainbowy shelf, and oh, there's already so many books. Oh god, there's so many books on this that I haven't read already. The Artist's Way. I said I was eventually gonna do this challenge. Hasn't happened yet. I just haven't got around to it. I haven't felt the urge to cry. This is a book that I said that I was going to pick up in the spring, and I never got around to it. I'm low-key tempted to pick it up now, but I just get so overwhelmed and intimidated by classics that I just haven't. Oh god, now my shelf looks like an absolute mess. I'm low-key debating unhauling this one, so I've yet to read it. Just haven't got around to reading it, don't know if I ever will. I just picked up this copy when I was in the Netherlands, so I haven't had any time to read it, but it's absolutely beautiful. I had never heard of it before, but it looks really pretty, and the concept sounded very, very interesting. So I don't know when I'll read it, and we'll leave that at that. I've yet to pick up Yona, but I do have plans in the future for this one. Okay, I think I'm just gonna do the top shelves and then move down because I don't really like having to balance on things. I guess I could have done 2 by 2, but you know, what can you do? I can't reach these either. Hang on. The top 3 are the ones I haven't read. There we go. I genuinely just like haven't got around to it. I know I'm gonna love these, but I want to be able to read them like all in one go, and it just hasn't happened because I wanted to reread the first book. It just hasn't happened. I just need the top 2. I read the first one earlier this year, and I wasn't like in love with it, so it's kind of hard to convince myself to read the rest of the series, but I eventually want to, hopefully someday. This one I had bought for a Patreon book club I was a part of and then never read it. I still want to, I just haven't been drawn back to this book at any point. This one I feel like I might unhaul. I feel like I've maybe aged out of YA, so y'all let me know if this one is worth it at all. I feel like since we're already at the shelf, I'm gonna go ahead and pick off of this shelf too. And I don't think there's that many. This one I recently-ish got with my brother. He recommended it, so I figured I one day would pick this up. I don't know when. This one, the same thing, sort of. I picked it up because of the Viking concept, but the last book I read by Cinda Williams-Chima I wasn't a huge fan of, so I'm kind of scared to return to her because I didn't realize it was by her when I bought it. This is an arc that was gifted to me, and I just haven't got around to it. This is one of the books that I said I was going to slowly pick through and haven't picked up at all. The last one is The Alice Paradox. I genuinely don't know if I'm ever going to return to this series, but I've just been holding on to it. I genuinely don't think I will, so it might get an unhaul. Okay, I got tired of being out of frame and my arm got tired of like reaching really high, so this shelf, oh, I haven't read this one. I honestly don't know if I will or not. I'm gonna be so transparent with y'all. I've really only kept this book because of the pretty cover, and that is literally it. I feel like this is one of the books that I might enjoy that's been written by multiple authors. The last time I tried to read one by them, it was Tales from a Shadowhunter Academy. I one-starred that book. I despised it, and I tried to read the Bane Chronicles, and I found it so boring. So I was really hesitant to pick up anything by Cassandra Clare and Incorporated, basically. So I don't know, but I feel like this would contain characters that I do like from the Shadowhunter universe. So I don't know when, if ever, I'll visit this, but I feel like there's a higher likelihood of me picking this one up compared to the other ones that I mentioned. This one I will be reading this month. This is my last Patreon buddy read for October, The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I've heard so many amazing things about this book, and I do really love this copy. It is really pretty, and this will be off of my TBR at the end of October, and I'm actually reading this tomorrow, so I'm filming this video a little early from when you're seeing it, so technically by the time you're watching this video, I've already read this book. Let me know what I think of it. The only other book on this shelf that I haven't read is kind of a chunker, and I picked this up not knowing anything about it. I think this is the author's debut novel, and it is like a brick. I just haven't been in a high fantasy mood lately. I take that back. I've been in a high fantasy mood, but I just feel like I want to pick up the Stormlight Archives and read that before I read any other like fantastical, magical, huge world building series, especially because the 5th book of Stormlight comes out very, very soon. So I just haven't been in the mood to pick up anything other than Stormlight, but then I haven't picked up Stormlight on the same token. So I've just picked up no really long fantasy books. I've made the executive decision that you don't need to see like the tippy top shelf because these are the only 3 books that I'm dropping. Oh my gosh, the only 3 books that I haven't read, help, that are on that top shelf, and I figured I could just grab it off, and no one needs to see that shelf. Not that interesting. So Eldest, Bringsiger, and Inheritance. I still would love to read the Inheritance quartet. It is just a case of I haven't yet, and then it's been so long since I've read the first one, and then I started rereading it, and then that didn't happen. But earlier this year, when I was filming a dragon themed video, I was supposed to pick up Eldest. It never happened. So this is one of these like one of these days series that just sit on my shelf and look pretty. As for, oh, my shelves are a little dusty. As for this one, I haven't read this one. This is a book that my dad really wanted me to read as a kid, and I never read it. And then my best friend in high school read it and said I should read it, and my sister read it and said I should read it. So one of these days I will read it. This was my copy, and then I never read it, so my dad took it back, and recently I took it back with the hopes that perhaps I would pick it up. We'll see. Oh, this is a book I've had on my TBR for a hot minute. I don't know if I'll ever read it, but I'm just gonna hang on to it because I've enjoyed the other Asian culturally inspired fantasy books. I love the concept of a half, I'm gonna say this so wrong, but I love the concept of the half kitsune and half human. I think that's so cool, and maybe I do need to pick this up. This really isn't that long. It's just under 400 pages. So maybe I will, or it'll sit on my shelf for another couple years. And the only other book on the shelf is actually one that's quite cool, and it is A Clash of Tides by Olivia Marr. Why is this so cool, you ask? Because I drew that. That's my map. This is the first ever book with my art in it, so making my artist publishing debut through Olivia Marr. And I have plans to wait for another author or two that I've worked with to release their novels and then do like a fun reading vlog, reading like books that my art is in. I thought that'd be like a fun concept, so I do have plans on reading this. But in the meantime, you should read this and support Olivia Marr and let her know how much you like her book. So one of these days I will read it, but I am, like I said, just waiting for a couple other authors to release their novels so I can read them all in one go and just experience a bunch of independent author books. I think that would be so fun. As for this literal entire row all the way across here, I'll give you the zoom. Yeah, all of these, I I have read all of them because this is the entirety of the Ranger's Apprentice series, along with its companion series Brother Band, as well as the spin-off series Royal Ranger, as well as the prequel duology Early Years. So don't even worry, I read all, what are we up to, 28? There is a new one that's been released. I don't own it yet, but I plan to, and when I buy it, I'm gonna read it immediately, so it doesn't really count against me. So it's fine. But these are my babies right here. This entire shelf I've read. It's literally just 4 books. It's the Well Met series. We love her. As for this shelf, oh, I do have one on here. I picked this up earlier this year and I just yet to get around to reading it. Again, it's one of those like based on like a myth and I haven't felt like it. So it's just sat here. While I haven't read this book, I did try to read it and I DNF'd it. I have kept it because it was a gift from Jan and we were gonna buddy read it together and then we both DNF'd it. I'm not gonna count this against my physical TBR because I literally never plan on reading this book ever. But I do have one book here that I haven't read that counts against me, and it's The Freighter Queen by Daniel L. Jensen. I had plans to read this in April, and then April was just not it, and then May was not it, and then June was not it, and July was not it. So I never got around to actually finishing this duology, even though it's not that long, Cass. I could do it. I just haven't yet. That's like my excuse for most of these books, so I have nothing else to really say. Down here, we have such a gorgeous shelf. But I haven't read The Narrow Road Between Desires or The Silver Guard of Silent Things. So instead of taking away the pretty versions, I'm going to take away the normal versions. I genuinely have no excuses for these. I started The Silver Guard of Silent Things and I never finished it. And then I picked this one up last year with the hopes of reading it that year. It didn't happen. So maybe when I do my Kingkiller duology reread, perhaps I will also pick up these straight after. Doubtful. But perhaps. They're unbelievably short, so I have no excuse to have not picked these up, but that's on me. Okay, real quick, I moved over here, but then I realized I could probably grab these too, because they're just on this side. Basically, these 3. So the We Hunt the Flames duology, Will of the Many, as well as Bloodmarked. Haven't got around to them. As for my Sanderson shelf, this is the shelf I was dreading the most because, guys, it's so embarrassing. I have read Elantris. I just need to get it off of my stack. Stormlight Book 2, Stormlight Book 3, Stormlight Book 4, Arcanum Unbounded. I have read like 2 stories out of here, but I have not finished the whole thing, so we're just gonna put that in the pile of shame, especially from someone who claims they're a massive Brandon Sanderson fan. I feel like this is a heinous crime. And then, let's just stick that back there. Here, this is just a dupe of Words of Radiance. We don't need to further my shame, okay? Yeah, I had a John Gwynne phase where I managed to only read 1 book and yet buy 5 of them. Listen, April was not a good month. James Islington or James Islington? Someone please tell me. April was not a good month, okay? A Fate Inked in Blood by Daniel L. Jensen, as well as A Fragile Thread of Power, but, in my defense, I don't plan to read this until the entire trilogy is done because I learned my lesson with Darker Shades of Magic. I read them when they all were released, but oh my gosh, the cliffhangers that they ended on, I don't want to put myself through that, so I haven't read it. But if Katie reads it and says that it doesn't end on that bad of a cliffhanger, then I will pick it up. If y'all have read it and you think the cliffhanger's not that bad where I can pick it up, let me know because I am really, really excited about this. I'm just terrified of having to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. So let me know. And on the very, very bottom shelf, you cannot see it, but it's my romance shelf. The only book I haven't read on there is Half a Soul, but I do plan on reading it this year. I know I've said that about a lot of books, but this one should happen. I have a plan. I know that's really vague and random, but I swear, perhaps, maybe. Okay, don't hold me to anything I say in this video. Don't hold it against me. Okay, last 2 shelves from the very, very bottom that you cannot see. I am gonna just grab these off real quick. Steel Striker and Sky Hunter. Wow, I'm not even in frame. By Mary Lou. Mary Lou was like my Insta-buy author years ago, and I don't know if I'll pick these up. Let me know if they're any good and y'all have read them. Maybe then I will read them. But right now they're teetering on the unhaul or to not unhaul decision. Okay, back to up here. I think I finally reached a point where I want to unhaul this duology. I've read the first one. I just haven't read the second one. They're just so pretty. I couldn't bring myself to unhaul them, but low-key I might, because I'm never, ever, ever gonna read this, because I just did not love the first one. Read all of these. Oh, nope. I haven't read this one. This was a manga. Hello. That's my fave. Let's stay. This was a manga recommended by my brother. I hung out with him one day and we went book shopping and such, so I decided to pick up a copy, and the cover is so fall-esque. I love it. Maybe I should pick it up this fall. I feel like that would be a good idea. Don't hold me to it. Down on the bottom here, we have Golden Sun. And I think that's it for books that I haven't read. And I've been dying to finish the Red Rising trilogy, okay? I'm dying to. And I just haven't. I'm so bad. I'm literally so bad about finishing series these days. So add that to my pile. And that's it. So I'm gonna put them in stacks. Now, before I stack my books into proper piles and wrap up this video, I did want to talk about Teddy Blake. Teddy Blake has worked with the channel before, and I'm delighted to be working with them yet again. The bag you're seeing here is the Kim Stampato 9-inch in the color black. I carried this bag all around the Netherlands with me and has quickly become my favorite purse to date. It's durable enough to keep up with my insane amount of traveling, thanks to the luxury leather it is crafted with. Being an artist myself, I truly appreciate the craftsmanship that clearly went into designing the Kim Stampato, along with the other handbags on Teddy Blake's website. The brilliant thing about Teddy Blake is it's the quality of a luxury handbag, but without the added cost of a label. They don't compromise the quality and actually work with a vast team of Italian designers to bring you new collections every month. With the holiday season upcoming, Teddy Blake is the perfect place to grab a gift for a loved one, or even nab a gift for yourself. If you're in the market for a durable, well-crafted, uniquely designed handbag, I highly recommend checking out Teddy Blake's website, which I will link below. Thank you so much to Teddy Blake for sending me this handbag to review, and of course, I want to thank all of you watching for your constant support. It truly means the world. All things considered, it could have been worse. Bad news is, I found more. I have the last 3 books in the Ender Quartet, The Hobbit, The Rhythmatist, and The Lies of Locke Lamora. Some of those are new. I just bought them. Some of them I've had on my TBR for years. So, yep, those were all in my office. I shouldn't have gone in there. I shouldn't have remembered that I had them. So, I'm gonna count, see how many books we're working with here. I have exactly 60 books. I have exactly 60 books, and the last time we had this discussion, I had exactly 75 books. So I've managed to unhaul an extreme amount of books recently. I think I had an unhaul video of 50 books, some in which I read, some in which I didn't earlier this year. And then I've read books, but apparently I have learned nothing. But this is my physical TBR. It is tall and it is scary. But you can't even see one of the stacks. Hang on. See this guy right here? Do you see it? There's another one. There's 5 stacks. I was literally gonna say that, it's not that bad. I think this is pretty bad. So I hope that you enjoyed my piles of shame and are not ashamed of me like I'm ashamed of myself. Let me know how many physical books you've got on your TBR to make me feel better or perhaps worse. And I think I'm gonna go and get to reading. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Toodles!